Let's do Bama.
Okay.
I'm concerned.
8.5. 8.5
I'm concerned.
is there over under. We don't know the quarterback battle between Keelan Russell and Austin Mack. Added a bunch of transfer offensive linemen, but they weren't really FBS starters. Ryan Coleman Williams, wide receiver, can he bounce back? They do have some young skill guys I like. Secondary should be strong. A manageable first 5 games of the schedule. They do have Florida State, but before a run of Georgia, Tennessee, Texas A&M, and LSU in the middle of the season there. So, like, Kalen DeBoer got a giant new big contract, so he's not going anywhere. But a lot of pressure with the last time we saw this team, they got punked at the Rose Bowl by Indiana. David, does your daughter have any thoughts on the Crimson Tide?
She might. I can get her in here and ask her. So this was the team that I was torn on, Chris. Do you think that Alabama can win the national championship? I'm on the fence.
I do not. Unless Keelan Russell is like otherworldly.
That I think we could be having a different conversation. If he's a superstar in mid-November where it's like, this guy's special, then I think they can. And I think that's definitely possible. But coming into the season, I had them narrowly, no. I don't think they can get there. Their best case scenario, I have them at 11-1 in the playoff. I am skeptical of their ability to go win, what does it take? 3 or 4 games to get to there if you get the bye, if you win the SEC. So I just don't think they can do that. Their worst case, though, I have them at 7-5. I think there's a real opportunity for a fallback year for Alabama. I didn't love what they did in the portal. You kind of hit on some of this stuff, Chris. Like, they missed on some guys that they would have liked to have had in the portal. They didn't make any splashy additions. They've been recruiting pretty well. The 27 class has been pretty slow going. That doesn't really affect right now, obviously. But it's a little shaky because you're kind of banking your season on, like, we need Keelan Russell or Austin Mack to be great. If they are not, if they're just okay, that 8-4, that 7-5 gets to be real in a hurry. And you look at that schedule, I would not be taking at Kentucky as just a given. Be careful. You got Florida State. In your head, you should be beating them. I also watched last year's game and the rest of Florida State season. You got South Carolina. You got Georgia. You got at Tennessee on the 3rd Saturday in October. You got A&M, you got LSU, you got the Iron Bowl, which always gets weird, and I don't think Bama's going to be able to blow very many teams just away this year. A lot of losable games. So I've got their worst case at 7-5.
I don't think the ceiling, like, my biggest question on this team, the reason my ceiling is low on them, can you run the ball? They were 126th in yards per carry last year, like one of the worst in the country. And we saw it against Indiana. They couldn't run the ball. They couldn't do anything. So when you're playing Georgia or LSU, you're on the road in Tiger Stadium, and you can't run the ball, and all you can do is put the ball in the hands of your inexperienced starting quarterback, whoever it is. Are you going to be able to score that many points? I don't know. The player I'm most interested in, Lazier Brooks, wide receiver, really came on late last season, 32 catches as a freshman.
Great player.
If Ryan Coleman Williams doesn't bounce back, does he become the number 1 wide receiver 1 for them? But, like, just, are you tough enough? Alabama has lost the toughness. Part of that is because they can't stockpile the roster like Nick Saban was able to. But also, you got pushed around by Indiana. You got pushed around by quite a few teams. That is ultimately, that's the lasting image we have of this team, is getting punked at the line of scrimmage by Indiana. Where is the pride? Where is the toughness? And that comes back to running the ball. And they're going to have kind of a collection of running backs handling it. It doesn't appear there's going to be one big breakout guy, because if you can't run the ball, no matter who you have at quarterback, it's going to be a difficult time. So my best case for them, 11-1, 10-2, win a playoff game or two. I don't see this team getting to a national championship. You got to give them credit for winning at Oklahoma last year, the playoff game. Like that was coming back. That was an impressive win, a sign of life. But then you lost it with the Rose Bowl. So in my worst case is, like 7-5, and obviously not make the playoff because you're just not good enough in the trenches. So we'll see.
I don't think this is a playoff team regardless. I'm really down on Bama coming into this season.
Even though you just said you have them on the fence as a team that can win the national championship?
Because of the talent. The talent is what the talent is. But just looking at what this team, how they actually play, what they do, Like, I think this is a 9-win team that like doesn't really have a case for the playoff. Maybe 8 wins. So
yeah, 8.5 over under. I'm gonna say over and say they get to 9. What do you think?
yeah, I mean that's a great number for them. I would lean 9, but for Alabama, like that's not. If you're not in the playoff and you're Alabama, nobody wants to hear why. And I think a lot of the why is what you did the last 8 months. It wasn't good enough. They didn't add enough impact players, whereas
Yes.
Texas did. Ohio State did. Where are you at?